I'm strong in faith.
Faith can move mountains. Radio Maria 91.3 FM.
The voice of truth.
Hello, beautiful people. Good evening, beautiful evening to each and every one of you out there. Horrible news we hear every day. The security situation in the country is frightening. I hope you're safe wherever you are. Well, you're welcome to Life Essential Talk, a talk show where we deal with issues that have to do with marriage, parenting, fundamental life issues, family values, and family relationships. Well, I am here alone. My co-host Clare Ohunayo is unavoidably absent. I remain Uche Chukwuma. Well, on Monday we had a very interesting topic. We talked about modeling good behaviors for children. I hope you learned something from that. I hope you took home something quite significant. Well, today we have another very interesting topic, which is intertribal marriage. And we have a guest who will tell us all we need to know. Meanwhile, let's take this musical break, and when we return, we go into our topic proper. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Radio Maria 91.3 FM, still on Life Essential Talk, where we talk about a whole lot of things. Well, today, like I said earlier, is all about intertribal marriage, and we have a guest. We have a wonderful guest who will tell us all we need to know. Well, his name is Sir Stephen Adim. He works at Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority. But do you know the most interesting thing about this man? He is an Igbo man married to an Indoma woman. So he is very much, how will I put it now? He has a first-hand experience of the topic we have today. So, Sir Stephen, it's very nice to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me here.
Nice to have you here. So, Sir Stephen, without wasting much time, let's go into our topic. Now, tell us, what is intertribal marriage?
Well, intertribal marriage can be said to be a term which refers to the canonization, and the legalization and the inculturization of the union between two persons of different tribes or ethnic groups.
Okay.
So that is basically what it is.
Okay.
Yes. So in certain cases, you might still have the three interplaying together. In some cultures, you have all of them playing, like in the Catholic denomination, you might have three of them playing interchangeably, from the legal, that's going to the registry, to the traditional marriage, which culminates in the solemnization into holy matrimony. But in certain places, notwithstanding, it doesn't mean that one cannot still stand. It depends. From the cultural part, the inculturization comes into process. Now you can still legalize it by going to the registry, or just go to the church, or even to the mosque to solemnize it, to be made holy. Yes. Okay.
So, in a simple sentence, very simple sentence, yes, what can we say intertribal marriage is?
Intertribal marriage is the union between two persons of different tribes or ethnic group.
Okay, give us an example.
For example, you have a Hausa man marrying an Ibibio woman. Or you have a Yoruba man marrying an Efik woman.
Okay.
So in clear sense, these are different tribes, these are different ethnic groups, they have different cultural traditions, customs, belief system are totally different. And basically that is why it's called marriage, because you bring these disparate elements
Yes.
together to make one. Nevertheless,
Okay.
in marriage, this kind of marriage should be established under one commonness. There should be some form of an agreement towards commonness, certain commonness, bringing different ingredients together to make it one.
Okay.
And then apart from that too, the compatibility principle must be there, because that is the basic essence of
Okay.
every marriage. If not, marriages would definitely crash, whether they are intertribal or intra-tribal. They would definitely crash unless that compatibility principle is there.
Is there.
Yes.
All right. So we'll go into that proper. But now, sometimes when you hear, let's presume that an Igbo man wants to marry a Yoruba woman. Most times you hear people clamoring, why should you leave your tribe to go to Yoruba land to get a wife? Most times it becomes a problem in certain families. So now I want to ask you, should tribe be an issue in marriage?
Well, tribe should not be an issue in marriage, just like I said much earlier. Marriage, what it is after all, is the coming together of similar and different elements.
Okay.
So that is why it's even called marriage, bringing them into that common oneness. There should be some form of commonness in them. So for me, tribe shouldn't be an issue, because when you look at the advantages intertribal marriages spin to us, then you begin to understand that yes, it does a lot of things, especially when it comes to a country like ours.
Okay.
Yes, intertribal marriages have advantages. One, of fostering unity and cementing dividing lines.
Okay.
Yes. Then it breeds cohesion too along fractured lines. Yes.
So tell us, what
yes.
are these lines?
These lines are now, okay, you might have had, let me use Nigeria as an example. A fractured line now can be bred by the thief Jukun war of those days.
Okay.
So now you begin to understand these are warring parties. Thief Jukun. Now imagine that a Jukun man marries a thief woman.
Okay.
You can begin to understand what it does. It helps to cement, to build that bridge, to bring together these persons. Because if I understand that a family of mine, for instance, I'm a Jukun, family A is a Jukun, and family B is a Jukun, these are warring parties.
Okay.
And they agree to come together. That means these individuals would have separated themselves from those warring factors. And if it continues like that, it transcends. It has a spiral effect. Now we can intermarry. That means we have some commonness and oneness with us. We can begin to share values, cultures. I can begin to visit your market days. You come to my own market days too. We can go for, what do you call it now? Traditional marriages. And then, so you can imagine the advantages this will definitely put to those families. So that was why I said it helps to breed cohesion along fractured lines, maybe warring parties, etc., etc.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So give us another. I'm sure there must be
Yes.
other reasons.
Yeah, there are other, like I said, like
Other
I was
reasons.
saying, cultural integration and exchanges.
Okay.
Now look at the scenario that, for instance, myself, I'm married to an Idoma woman as an Igbo man. Now look at, I begin to understand the culture of the other side. I eat their food, which normally I wouldn't have. I eat Cohost soup.
Okay.
Yes. And even apart from that, the first a few months of our marriage with my wife, what I had to do is my sister was around. She had to bring her because I love eating homemade food.
Okay.
So she had to bring her, taught her how to cook our normal bitter leaf soup and other soups, make ishewu, kobe, and the rest of them. So it brings these exchanges, even in when you talk about language, etc., etc. I can understand certain bits of her language, and she too can understand certain bits of my own language. Another thing marriage, intertribal marriage helps to do is it helps to reduce stereotyping, and it helps to diffuse certain misconceptions.
Okay.
Yeah, about tribes and ethnic groups. Now, like in our own place now, Nigeria, we have certain perceptions which might really be misconceptions about certain ethnic groups or tribes. You look at some tribes, you say, oh, these people, they are too violent. Oh, you look, you say these people, no, they use their families for rituals.
Rituals, yes.
Or they are into a lot of cultism.
Okay.
Or these people are just too greedy, they are not people to live with. Now, and this might just be stereotypes.
Exactly.
Like I mentioned, this thing they are basically not cultural.
Okay.
That was why I will keep mentioning that compatibility theory, principle, in that you should understand the attitude of the person you want to marry, whether that will transcend into behavior in marriage.
Okay.
Yes. The attitude, would it transcend into behavior, the measured attitude that you want in that marriage?
Okay.
Now, this is an individual, they say, no, this man comes from an area where the people are rituals, or they're into a lot of cultism. Now, that is measured.
Okay.
Now you begin to look, this man now, how is he? Is he like that? No. Is his family like that? No. What about the clan? No. So, why should that stereotyping be there?
Yes, that's general.
Yes.
Definition
of a certain group
people,
of people.
yes.
So you begin to weigh these things against all odds for yourself, and somehow you begin to look at it. You say, these people are not really like that too. And then, because at the end of the day, I know how many persons have come to me that, look, you have done this thing, you get mind.
Exactly.
You have done this thing, please.
Those are the words.
Yes. Could you advise on one? So you begin to advise, and then you extend that into tribal marriage line. So, and it reduces a lot of misconceptions, because at the end of the day, you be the one saying, no,
they're not like that.
They are not like that, because I've never experienced it. These are just what naysayers might just bring to the table.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's take this short break, and when we return, we continue with, should tribe be an issue in marriage? Don't go anywhere. Oh, dear listeners, welcome back to Radio Maria 91.3 FM. We are still on Life Essential Talk discussing intertribal marriage. But before we went on break, I asked our guests, should tribe be an issue in marriage? And he has been giving us reasons why tribe should not be an issue in marriage. I'm sure he has a whole lot of reasons to give to us. So, Sir Adim, let's continue with those reasons why tribe should not be an issue in marriage.
Yes, another core reason why it should not be. You just imagine the children of or the products of an intertribal marriage, what they will be. These children become hybrids.
Okay.
Yes, they become hybrids, and then they become propagators too of the essence and the need, and if possible, why there should be intertribal marriage. Because I said this, now these children have elements of different tribes. Some children go to the extent of understanding even 2 or more languages because of that intertribal marriage, because they learn to understand the language of the father and that of the mother. Now you can imagine what sort of exchanges they begin to have. It makes them that complete human. Yes,
Okay.
within our own environment. Now, just imagine, let's assume I like dealing with the small cultures, not the 3 major ones. Imagine an Efik now getting married to a Juku. Now, that Efik or the Juku man now, as that child grows,
Okay.
he is sent to, let's assume, Akwa Ibom or Cross River to serve. So he has a soft landing already. He has a soft landing. He wouldn't be thinking, no, I need to change my place of service or whatever. He has already been given that platform to easily integrate into that society.
Exactly.
So you send him wherever within the South. The best he will tell you is, my father is, or my mother is from around this place. So it makes it easy. Yes, they have a very soft landing, and they even help to propagate that. He might go to the youth service. He might not necessarily, since his father is a Jukun, his mother is an Efik, he might not necessarily marry either of those. He might decide, let me look for an Igbo woman or even an Ibibio woman. So he becomes a propagator, and then at the end of the day, one thing we will enjoy is that integration, exchange. There becomes some sense of unity in diversity at play in real time. Because most times we say unity in diversity, but tell some people to go into lifelong contracts with tribes. They say, no, I just like them, but I don't think I can. You understand?
Marry,
But imagine the man who has gone through that process. He has seen his father, mother living very well bred too. So imagine what will be of that person too. So it helps to adapt. You adapt to the system. That is part of it too.
All right. Very, 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 very sensible. Now, as a man married to an Idoma woman, were there obstacles? Were there, when you were, into that relationship and when you got married, were there obstacles? Let me start maybe from your parents.
Yes, definitely there were obstacles. These obstacles are, they are even continuous. Yes, it's not as if, that is why it is called marriage. Every day, every new day brings out a new picture. But because you have already taken it, this is what it is, then you know how to live with it. Now, yes, not necessarily from parents. I remember, may her soul rest in peace, because I keep remembering that is one of the scenarios I can ever paint. I went to bury my younger sister, and then I was with my wife then as my friend and a friend too to my younger sister. So we traveled together. I remember after the burial, yes, after the burial, she stayed for some time because we needed to go together, and I was not leaving immediately. Others have left. Now they started asking, who did she come with? So I was hearing some side talks and the rest of them, and the rest, my dad was there. So I had to, and it was coming from my mommy, because
she was the one that asked.
Yes, my father is one of the most liberal persons I've ever known on earth.
Wow.
Very liberal. He lived all his life in Jos. So yeah, so I had to go and meet my mommy. why were you harassing this? Yes, he said, who is this? But I already knew where she was coming from. I already knew. So that was the moment I stood my ground and I tried to do certain explanations that might not be really receptive to her at that point in time. But glad enough, it was my dad who had to come in. He told me in our language, it's okay, whatever it is, it's okay. After all, it's all about living in peace.
Exactly.
So at that time, I just took it where he's the head of the house. He has given me a tick mark.
That made it easier
yes,
for you.
It made it easier. So even when discussions came, that yes, this is the person I want to, so it came very easily in their heads. They played it, and it was like a smooth save for me. Seriously. Apart from that too, even from our own side, because even before then, I've had cause to be visiting, visiting the house. I eat their food, do this. That was even in Jos. If I go for holidays, my parents were in Jos then,
Okay.
Yeah, just visit. So I created a platform for myself. So when it came to that marriage stuff, I still remember, yes, there were obstacles. Especially from, normally people at home will always want to bring obstacles because of culture or traditions or whatever they are.
But before you
Yes.
continue, what did you hear about her people?
Where?
What did you hear? I'm sure someone must have said something, or some persons must have said
Well,
something
to be frank,
about.
to be frank with you, about the females, the best I knew I heard was basically not a negative thing. That
Okay.
that there's this aleku thing. You see, before them I never knew these things. That was why I was saying it brings cultural exchanges.
Yes.
I had this aleku that once a woman is in marriage and she has some, intermarital affairs
Okay.
outside that she's born to, I think she will just,
She'll die.
yeah, calamities will befall on her. Yes.
Okay.
Things like that, along those lines.
Okay.
Then there are other things, like I said, for the women, that is just what I could actually gather.
So
But then,
what did she hear about your own people?
well, the everyday,
They must have told her
the
things.
everyday thing people hear, Igbo people, mother-in-laws. Can you
Oh my
live with Igbo
goodness.
and Igbo mother-in-law? This. But believe you me, at the end of the day, she's the best friend of my mother.
You see?
My mother will call her and complain
You see?
about me to her. So, if she doesn't call my mother, like after 3 days, my
Your
mother will
will-
call and start asking, what did I do to you? This stuff, that stuff, this stuff, Because, and it wasn't like that had an issue. But, like I said, attitude versus behavior. They have decided to come together. They have coalesced and then cemented themselves, and then there's that commonness or oneness. Now my mom can call her, complain against me to her. So she just feels that oneness that marriage brings is what is at play. So everyone is happy.
Okay.
Yes.
So what about your friends? Did you hear anything
Basically,
from your friends? I'm sure when you told them you were marrying an Idoma woman, they must have said a lot of things.
Yes, good enough. I met my wife in church we are in the same youth group.
Okay.
Yes, we are in the same youth group. So in that youth group, basically a lot of Igbo babes, Igbo girls were there too.
I'm sure they must have cost.
So you can imagine, and I was a member of the choir too. In the choir too, there are Igbo girls. And I'm a member of my community too. There are Igbo girls. So at the end of the day, in Igbo parlance, they will say, Obronye Nka. That is, of all people, it is this or it is this place that you decided to learn. So one thing there is this peer pressure, seeking that no matter how good that relationship is with a person of the other tribe or ethnic group, no matter how good, for them it is better to marry the worst from your own ethnic group.
Which is not right.
I begin to,
which is not right.
Yes, definitely. So you begin to wonder, you begin to try to reconcile these things, but at the end of the day, it's your decision to make, because that peer pressure must be there, definitely.
Okay, I think it's time for us to open the phone line. Well, the number to call is 081 084 47518. Again, the number to call is 081 084 47518. You can send SMS or send your message via WhatsApp. We would love to hear your own experience. We would love to hear your contributions to today's interesting and exciting talk. So, Sir Stephen, okay, there's a caller on the line. Hello. Hello. Good evening.
Good evening, brother.
What's your name and where are you calling from? Okay, Mr. Hanacho, good to hear from you.
In my class, they will say, always work at Braga.
Oh.
It means as if you will know what was on my mind. What I'm passing through.
Oh.
Yes, I have a friend, but my challenge is she's from Kogi, that's from Enugu.
Okay.
But my challenge today is, when you marry your child person, there's this way you flow. There's some things I want to say, I'm not that educated anyway. And on this you want to say, you're looking for a way to do. You get?
Okay.
It's challenge to be honest with you. I like this lady, I like you, but this challenge of, looking for ways, like I don't know whether you're getting my
we are trying to get you. Yes.
Yeah, so this has been my challenge. And I don't know whether it makes any difference or I should still go ahead. But communication matters a lot in marriage.
Okay.
And when you're not communicating that much because of who are right now, you are being sidelined because of the and you continue using a particular language.
Okay.
When you use your person, you are. That's not how you cannot communicate with her.
Communicate well. Okay.
These have been my challenge. I really need the great advice on this.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So, Sir Adim, you heard him.
Yeah.
Communication is his issue.
Yeah, in every marriage, though, communication is key. But then you must be able to define a common cause for yourselves, especially when. Yeah.
Sir Adim, please just hold on to that thought. We have another call on the line. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Beautiful evening to you. Please, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Good
My
evening.
name is Anita.
Anita. Okay.
Yes,
You're
my
calling
name is
from.
Anita Temitope.
Okay.
In fact, I've been enjoying the program
Oh, thank
because
you.
I am equally from Kaduna State,
Okay.
married to a Yoruba man.
Mm.
So before my marriage to this Yoruba fellow, if you had told me I was going to marry a Yoruba man, oh God, I'll cast and bind.
Okay.
Like I was supposed to be shaking and bag out of the body because of how much
Resentment.
because of how much I hated them.
Oh.
But as I went for NYSC, I met him. Looking at him, it was a different version of the Yoruba people I heard about. So I feel most times it's not about where people come from, their state or their tribe. It's about the individual himself.
Exactly.
It's about the individual himself. I had some small traits that I just told myself, if a man have that, knowing fully well that nobody is 100%.
Yes.
But if one can have this, I'll be okay with that, And when I saw that in this Yoruba man, oh God, in my next world, I want to do the same marriage with him.
Wow.
No
Wow.
regrets whatsoever.
Beautiful, beautiful. That was so nice to hear.
Yes,
Oh,
that's just it, ma.
okay. Thank you so much for this
So I want to
contribution.
encourage as many that are in
Yes.
relationships, with other tribes. Please don't always work with what
You
they
hear,
tell you about,
exactly.
Yes, what they tell you about other tribes, and all that. One's experience might not be your same experience with the tribe, So just follow your heart. Watch the person's character. If this person you can do forever with, if you can do forever with this person, knowing fully well that you are not perfect, she is not perfect, you coming together with your imperfections to make a perfect home. If you can see that coming out of that union, you can go ahead. But first, you must table it on the altar of God.
Oh,
Regardless of your religion,
exactly.
either Muslim or Christian, regardless, on the altar of God, tell it to God, this person I feel for, is he or she the one? If he is or she is the one, I want you to just give me a sign, or as I start this preparation, let it go smoothly, Let me just give me a sign to know that you are actually endorsing in this union, and from there you can just have a happily ever after together.
Exactly. Thank you so much for this contribution. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Oh, and you too. Okay, so Sir Adim, you have heard it all. So let's try to tackle the communication.
Yes, the aspect of communication now. For every relationship, there is always an obstacle. No relationship or no marriage is a bed of roses. Yes, still have your thorns and brambles to overcome or to sleep on even. But how you manage it becomes the issue. Now, like she mentioned, the key thing, the key factor in every marriage is love, compatibility.
True.
Because I may still love you, but are we compatible? We have seen persons that love themselves, but 2, 3, 4 years, these days even 6 months down the line, you hear that the marriage has crashed.
Love is never enough.
Yes. No. Yes, because
love is not enough.
Never enough. Now, because if you tread on the path of love alone, then there becomes an issue. Yes, we love ourselves, but are we actually compatible?
True.
Because there are certain things you should do, I should be able to tolerate. There are certain things I should do, you should be able to tolerate. Now, when we bring the issue of communication and the language barrier, because in intertribal marriages is a barrier. Unless by happen chance the other individual understands your language. But apart from that, tribe is a barrier too. So for you to overcome that barrier, you must begin to evolve other means to bring to the table. Because if it is English, you use English. If it is Hausa, you use Hausa. But I think I've seen families that communicate in broken English and they are doing well. And then you walk into those families because you met them outside speaking broken English. You walk into those families, you speak with their children, you begin to look beyond your shoulders. Are these the parents of these kids? Because that integration exchange has already gone into them. For some persons too, because we do not understand a common tribal language, you and I, as the children are growing, some persons send them away, maybe to parents, to stay with them, and they begin to learn those
the
languages. So what I would advise the gentleman is, language is a barrier, but should not stop the love that he has for her. My wife does not understand Igbo. So what do? I take her to places where people speak Igbo. I take her to markets where people speak Igbo. So she begins to learn the basic ingredients of everyday Igbo speaking community. This is this is that, this is greeting, ndewo, no. That is all you need. Now, when you consider the fact that in inter-tribal marriages too, what is key is self-disclosure or openness. I think you might not necessarily look at language as a barrier, because what you need is an effective means of communication. If that is a barrier to you, why not evolve sign languages for yourselves? Look at me, the way I signal to you, or the way I cross my fingers or shrug my shoulder, it tells a lot, because even our kids understand that language. There are things our kids do by the time you turn and look. The look on your eye signals a lot of things. So why not evolve other means for yourself? Because it is about you. Marriage is about you in the very first instance. Other persons are second to it.
Okay.
It is about you. So he shouldn't look at language and then lose the essence of his being, because that lady would have been created for him, and then they might have, I think they have maybe certain compatible elements within them to share and to bring about that oneness in them. But if you put language at the forefront, then you are making that mistake again. Yes, it becomes a barrier.
All right, I hope Ohunayo listened to your advice. Okay, so let's go to the very interesting part, the part of when you met your wife.
Okay.
I want to ask again, did you ever think of, did it ever get into your mind that you might not marry an Igbo woman? Did you ever think in that line that, okay, I'm not going to marry an Igbo woman?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
It did.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now I guess because of I'm a very cross-cultural person. There are places you see me, you think, worry people will say this guy now Wafiga. Then there are places where I find myself in Kaduna, they say me, this guy is behaving like Kaduna guy. And these are in multicultural societies, even at my university in UNN. Not so many persons knew that I was Igbo. I guess where I was born and bred had a great impact in me. So
Okay.
even when I speak Igbo, they just felt, this guy, maybe he just, because he's in this environment, he got to learn it. Now, going by that, when you begin to grow, because of this cross-cultural nature,
Okay.
I've integrated with a lot of persons, and it first begins with you knowing yourself. This is me.
Okay, please just hold on to your thought. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Please, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Yana Chocolate.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you didn't do justice to what I asked, so I love to do because I don't have perfect time.
Okay.
My question was, I find it difficult in communicating more with her because when it comes to your own language, you feel free. There is some words you speak in your own language cannot speak to me in that
All right.
because of the level of education I didn't go to school. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm speaking is just because of how smart I am. That's why I'm trying to. Then secondly, and the important one, there is this thing they call Usu. I don't know
Okay,
whether
yes.
Oga have heard about it.
Yes.
Yes, he has.
Yes, there is these two girls in my life. I like two of them, and I'm going to tell you that this one is this driver Marianne.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of confused.
Okay.
Why what I'm saying, I don't know which way to go. So I don't know. I asked them and said things like this program you want to actually, but I just think your revision for the first time.
Okay.
I've not been listening. So when I heard this, I think okay, this is a good platform for me to help my views and complain. See whether I can get my story solved.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ohunayo. Now, the Osu caste system is a customary belief within a certain group of persons. Now, what the caste system does is it makes it you versus us. Like the saints in Galatians 3:28, for Christians, there is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither servant nor free. There's one underlining factor, which is our oneness in Christ Jesus.
Okay.
Now, if I put it in perspective, there are cultural differences, just like we have individual differences. Yes, I may love you, but then whatever we do, like in the course of defining marriage, I mentioned 3 things. Is it solemnization? Is it legalization? Is it inculturalization? Now, if it's the Osu caste stuff, it depends on you. We have had people that have decided to go into it and they did what they want to do. Now, some say it comes with its own problems. Now, you must judge within yourself. Would I be ready? Would I be ready?
When
out of love.
Exactly.
When these things come, would I be ready? So all decisions are for you. That was why I still mentioned that attitude versus
because
behavior.
nobody
Yeah.
can force you
Nobody.
to. You have to make up your mind on what to do.
Nobody. It's also stuff is like the medical stuff too. This is this sickle cell anemia issue. Now, this is your blood group. This is her blood group. Now they advise that look, out of every 4, 1 will definitely come out with this.
Okay.
It's now your decision.
Exactly.
Or out of every 4, 3 will come out with this. It becomes your decision. Do you want to do it out of love? Or what do you want to go the whole hog? Or you just want to be friends and then seek other avenues? One cannot be forced into marriage. So as regards that Osukas, you have to do the check and balance, weigh your options, and see how you move forward. Now for that of communication. Or the language, like I have always said, what is key is love. You don't understand her language, she doesn't understand your language, and the common element you have is the English language. Now, he mentioned that he's not as highly educated, so English language is almost like a barrier too to him. He finds he finds it hard to express himself.
Okay.
Like I said, I've had situations where we were living in Jos, businessmen after school, they take that sacrifice, or they leave early, 5 o'clock, and go to evening schools. 2 hours every day. It's like a marriage class. Even the marriage you learn. That is why you go for marriage course, or for as related to other groups too.
Okay.
Now, it's part of the sacrifice we are seeing. Thank God he has known. She loves him, he loves her. But our fundamental problem will be, how do we communicate? Why not enroll in an evening class? Or why not get a house tutor to do these things? Language is easy, especially English language. It's something we do every day.
Yes.
We've seen people in the other societies, higher climes, Western world. How do? They bring an individual to come and mold you. They will break you and mold you into what they want you to be, especially when it comes to issues like royalty. They give you the necessary etiquette on how to live. So for him, what our advice is, why not take up that challenge? Believe you me, 3 months is too much. If he decides to get a home teacher to tutor him through the basic skills, use of English language.
And it's not as if he doesn't speak. At least he spoke to us and he spoke fairly well.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's take this musical break, and when we return, we continue with this so very interesting topic. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Radio Maria 91.3 FM, the voice of truth. We are still on Live Essential Talk discussing intertribal marriage. While the phone line is still open, you can always call us on 081 084 47518. Again, 081 084 47518. You can send SMS or message via WhatsApp. We would love to hear your contributions and also get to know your own experience. Okay, so Sir Stephen Adim, thank you so much for enlightening us so far. So let's get to this. For parents, what advice can you give to parents, to guardians who would not want their children to get married to someone from another tribe? That's a tribe that is not theirs. What advice would you give to them?
Yes, when you look at the considerable number of increase in intertribal marriage, you tend to look at it's lopsided. Most times it happens in the southern part of especially our country.
Okay.
And even where it happens between a southerner and a northerner, you realize that it is of the Christian fold. Now,
okay,
this is...
Just hold on to your thoughts. Sorry about that. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Uche. I'm calling from Kukwa.
Okay, Uchenna, good to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you. I enjoy the program.
Thank you.
About this thing, there's an issue, but one thing about it is, even biblically, it's important.
Okay.
Marriage in Africa is a union of families.
Okay.
Marrying somebody from your tribe makes the investigation, because you want to know not just the girl, the family you are getting involved with.
Okay.
The issues in the family, their genetic composition, not about health. What the family is like, their history, their pedigree. What it is that can be passed on along family line, family tree. If it's from your tribe, it's easier to find these things that you can ask questions. But if from now on, the person is not from your tribe, how do you start to find out these things? It is difficult.
Okay.
And also now, when you marry, even in church, in Catholic church, when you want to marry somebody that's not a Catholic, the spiritual of course, then you really have to sit down and think it through. So marrying somebody that is not from your tribe, have you thought about the conflict in culture? I had a friend, when he died, sorry to take your time, when he died,
No problem.
the widow, after the burial, ran away because they told her that you will drink the water they used to burn the corpse. Immediately after the burial, she did not even stay, and she ran away from the church and disappeared. Because the disparity in culture, she could not understand anything. So that's why it's an issue. You really need to know where you are going. You cannot call God and blame God. You cannot absorb blame to God. Say God, and one thing is asking for time. The minor thing is a sign of unbelief. You don't have faith. So it's just to say, God, I asked for time. You gave me time. Now things are going. There are crosses. There are crosses in everything.
Okay.
If you believe in it, you go, you carry the cross, see it through.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
very
much.
much.
Thank you for that contribution. So he just stated the disadvantage
Yeah.
of intertribal marriage.
Yes.
What do you have to say about
Yes, like I said, for every marriage, just like you have the advantages, you still have the disadvantages.
Disadvantages, yes.
Just like he said too, and I mentioned earlier, you have to, no matter how the love you feel for that individual, and no matter how you think, this is it, compatibility becomes an issue.
Yes.
Compatibility. That was why I was mentioning along the bloodline, sickle cell. You guys are not compatible.
Okay.
Cultural lines. Are you compatible? If you are not compatible,
Okay.
and you want to force it, are you willing to go the whole hog and carry the cross, like he said? Because it's an individual thing, not minding the fact that it's cultural and it involves other persons,
Other members of the family.
or the ethnic group or whatever. So These are barriers. You should be able to know if you want to kill right
exactly.
before they start, or you want to go and you are ready to carry that cross. Because at the end of the day, it is your cross to carry.
True.
For every marriage, nobody carries the cross. It is for you. I guess she must have been enjoying some protective, some protection from her husband.
Yes, when
now
he
he
was
is
alive.
late.
Yes.
No more protection. You have to do this, if at all. That is what it is. You have to do this because possibly other persons did it.
Thank you so much, Sir Stephen Adim. Well, we have to wrap it up at this time. Thank you once again, Sir Stephen Adim, for enlightening us. Let me use that word, enlightening us. I've learned so much, and I'm sure our listeners out there have also learned a whole lot. Thank you so much. And I'm sure when I call on you again, you will definitely oblige.
Definitely.
I hope so. Thank you
for
so
having me
much.
too.
Thank you. So to our dear listeners, thank you so much for staying with us. I really liked your contributions. They were all very, very enlightening. Thank you so much. And also your question. I'm sure someone got something from that question. Thank you for staying with us. So dear listeners, it is over at this time. Stay tuned for more of these interesting topics next week, Monday and Wednesday. From Uche, I say goodbye.